And we're live. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in and being a part of Righteous Dad Podcast, episode 1. I know there's a lot of other things you could be doing right now, and different podcasts you could be listening to while you're at home, working out, driving home in your car. But our mission here is to bring people, books, and stories can tell that tell compelling stories for you to be righteous. All right. So no matter our guests' social or economic status in life, we feel that everybody has a story that's worth hearing. And today I am truly honored to have a special guest, a person that I look up to, and many of you guys probably know him already and look up to. Uh, a man that has served our country as a Navy corpsman, that's deployed overseas and has seen combat. A man that is still serving our veterans and veteran supporters today in a couple of different ways. This man needs no introduction. Doc Soto.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you guys, and thank you for having me here. Such an honor. Such an honor.
Look like you've been getting a little tan over there.
A little
What you
out
been
in
up
the
to?
sun. Yeah, been hanging out with some people, working out. We're doing a little bit of the Walk for Wally, which was a charity event, and then we're doing the Walk It Out Wednesdays. And in Arizona, it's hitting 100 degrees now, so we get a little bit more sun.
Yeah, Arizona's definitely hot. You're over there where in Tucson?
Tucson,
So,
Arizona.
I'm over here in Carlsbad, California, so I can't complain. I got that ocean breeze, and you guys, you guys are over there just eating up the heat.
I was in Carlsbad on Sunday.
Mm,
Literally, I was in Carlsbad for like 6 hours.
just missed you. What were you doing out in Carlsbad?
I was meeting with my old lieutenant from my deployment. I was meeting in with one of the MVP website engineers too, John Mon, and it was his birthday. If you're seeing this, John
Shout
Mon,
out.
hope you had a good time.
Happy birthday. Happy belated
Yeah.
birthday. Before we get into it too much, I also want to introduce our co-host and a good friend of mine from over at Richmond, Virginia, Mr. Andrew Pratt.
Hello, and thank you again, Doc. It's a pleasure having you and your community here. We're looking forward to connecting with the MVP community, and I've heard so much about you guys. Brian talks about you guys. He's super excited, and looking forward to it, man. Thank you for being our first guest.
So for all the listeners too, I think when we're talking about MVP, I want to give a little kind of shout out and influence. So MVP is My Veteran Passion, and it was obviously Doc Soto is the founder of My Veteran Passion, and how I take it, and Doc, you can also go into it, is they basically are helping veterans and veteran supporters build a community on Discord and Twitch, amongst other ways of working out. And I am actually a member. I've been part of this for probably almost a year now, and I've had the unique pleasure on participating in a bunch of their events. Definitely the Salty Sailor Talk, that's every Saturday. All right, so I do want to give a quick warning to anything that we might talk about on this podcast. If it triggers anything, I definitely want you guys to be able to reach out for help or support, or if you guys want to reach out to myself or Doc. Definitely there's resources out there that we're gonna throw out for you. If you need someone to talk to and you need someone to hang out with, especially in the California area, I am here. In the Arizona area, there's many people. If you become a member of MVP, you're going to be a part of a community across the country that is willing to lend a shoulder, an ear, whatever it needs to be. But I think it's really important that and this is one of the reasons why I wanted Doc to be my first guest, is being active duty military myself in the Marine Corps. I think it's super important to have this community, because when you transition, and Doc could tell you as he transitioned already, I don't know, because I haven't transitioned, but I know that it's coming, and that's going to be a tough day, right?
It's inevitable. It's inevitable.
I'm going to let Doc talk a little bit more about MVP, and we'll kind of go from there.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. Yeah. So a little bit about me and how I started MVP. I was just finishing my last part of work with the Senate. I was working for the late Senator John McCain as a veteran advocate. And then when he passed away, they asked me if I want to continue going. I said, no, I'm okay. I'm going to go to school. I was going for a master's in organizational leadership. I was doing well, school, and then April of I think it was 2019, um, four of my buddies took their life, and three Marines and a corpsman that I served with in Afghanistan with 2-7. It hit me hard because these guys were like formidable gentlemen, had families, had a lot going on for them, and to see that those demons that they fought out there and brought them home, and it was they couldn't do anything about it, or how they felt. It was something that I felt very keen to, almost to the point where I felt some of it, but I was able to use some of the tools of resiliency and try to help myself in that aspect because you do feel alone. So unfortunately, four of them took their life, which put it up to like 30 2-7 members that suicided from the 2-7 deployment in '08. And right now, after that, we're at 40 now, 10 more after, and it sucks. It really sucks. But that's what compelled me to do this and projected me to say, if the VA is not doing something, if the DoD is not doing something, we as a community, we have to do something, and something that's not there, because if it was there, we'd be utilizing it already. So I decided to create MVP. Why? Because we are the most valuable players. We are the most valuable peers. This is my veteran passion. So as we continue pushing forward, we help one another. We continue with that network. I wanted this to really go into colleges as well, because when I was in college, I felt, I think, the most alone because I didn't have anyone, and what I ended up creating a uh, a vet center out in Phoenix and Mesa Community College, and started going to the University of Arizona. Afterwards, they already had a vet center, which I thought, like, okay, awesome connection. But then they wanted me to join a fraternity, and I was like, no, no, thank you very much. Which, Gunny, you're going to have to cross that path. Would you like to join a fraternity once you get out of the military and you go to college?
Well, I'm already going to college, but hey, I don't know if I want to be the old school old man.
And that's not
maybe
just
buy
you.
everybody beers.
Yeah. You're doing keg stands in a frat house at 1 a.m. while you have your wife and kids at home. Like, it's not what we do. It's not conducive to the responsibilities where these kids, they don't even have a cell phone bill sometimes because mom and dad are taking care of it. But what we're truly missing is not that. It's the connections in the network, because what they're doing, they're creating a brotherhood. We don't need to create that. We already serve the higher purpose, males and females. So we don't need to say, well, you're a male, you can't join the sorority. You're a female, you can't join the fraternity. We're inclusive. So as we continue pushing forward with veterans and supporters, we can make that network of not what you know, is who you know. Because throughout the nation, we have friends all over and we have veterans all over. So if they can help another vet when a vet is down, why not? And that's what we do. That's why we joined the military. A lot of us understood that mission, that we might not like each other, but we're definitely going to help each other. So how do we extrapolate that now once you got out of the military? How do you use BAMSIS in a more of the customary communal verbiage? It's a transition. It's a transition that is inevitable for all active duty members. And as we go through it, you'll see that there's a lot of different bumps in the road, that someone's rock might be some other people's boulders. But by helping each other, we can break those and create roads. So that's what MVP is about.
And it's not only for when we transition too. It's everyday grind. I think people go through things all the time, whether it's at home with like their family situations, or like you said and you brought up, where you lose members in an operation, or they decide to do the worst thing, and take their own lives because they feel like the suffering is just not worth living. But I think, um, I commend you for what you're doing right now. Not only, I mean, it speaks character to who you are, not only being a corpsman, because, you're over there carrying an extra 40 pounds of weight, right? You're there with 2-7 with the Marine Corps, having to go through their training and getting their Fleet Marine Force pin and all that kind of stuff. And you're taking on this greater challenge to be the one that when the Marines are getting shot or hurt, they're looking to you you know what I mean, for help. So I think it's amazing that even when you leave, you know, the military, that you're still that Doc Soto, right? You're still that guy that it's like, hey man, I need some help. I need a pick me up. You know what I mean? And you're there. And I think it's amazing. And like when I started playing video games, right? We all played video games when we were a kid from the NES days. And then it's kind of grown into such an awesome thing where you can do so much good with it. And then all of a sudden, hey, unfortunately a pandemic hit. But if it wasn't for this pandemic, I wouldn't have got all crazy and bought a bunch of video game stuff and then meeting you guys, you know what I mean? So there's always good things that come from bad, you know what I mean? Regardless. And I just think it's awesome that MVP's there. And I was like, man, when I first seen it, especially given your intro, we didn't start the fire and all that stuff by Rich and the Money Made. I was like, man, these guys got it down. And then becoming a member of the Discord and how easy it is just to load Discord on your phone and be plugged into a community of such awesome people that all have different stories. And I just really look forward to the friendship growing, and then all the other friendships growing to all the other MVP members, you know, because hey, the end of the month for the listeners, I'm going over to Austin, Texas to meet a bunch of them and party and kick it with you guys. So I'm looking forward to that, and I can't wait for the viewers and listeners. Hopefully I should have some videos and funny stuff and bloopers from that we can make some awesome videos. So when you guys are listening to this podcast, episode 1, kind of the origin story, you guys can look at what the hell we do at MVP, and maybe it'd be like a vacation brochure thing. Like, hey, this is a sorority fraternity of, you know, veterans and veteran supporters. And if you want to be a part of this and party with the big dogs and the devil dogs, come out. So yeah, for sure, man. What do you got going on, Andrew? What do you think about all this?
You're muted, brother.
Yeah, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm just happy to be included, man. I'm, you know, being from the civilian sector, you know, it's really humbling to be even on the same forum as some veterans. I have mad respect for you guys. You know, my father was a military veteran. My grandfather was a military veteran, World War II. My dad was in Vietnam, you know, and, you know, I chose to go on and stay in the civilian side and pursue a career in business and management and entrepreneurship. So, you know, but mad respect for you guys and everybody in the MVP community. You know, I'm just super stoked to be sharing a forum with you guys.
Thank you, brother.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, we're definitely happy to have you. And Doc would say, hey, you're not a civilian, you're a veteran supporter. All right. So
Absolutely.
You're very important. You know, not everybody,
Very much so.
Not everybody's called to serve the country. And for those of you guys that are listening, or viewing or listening on Twitch Live, and you're thinking about joining the military, you know, you need to reach out to definitely some MVP members, because we're here to mentor and to help you prepare. And I was a recruiter, man, so I know I can answer some of the questions that you may have. But nowadays, and Doc will probably agree with me, I mean, there's not much you can hide when it comes to joining. It's super easy to go ahead and research everything and see if your recruiter is giving you some BS or whatever, right? So, but I wanted to kind of talk a little bit more, Doc, about your service and what it is, you know, being a corpsman, and you know, what it was like to be attached to a Marine infantry unit, because I know you bleed green, right? And that's what we say. Other Navy that's in like the dental or the hospital or something like that, they bleed blue, but it takes a special type of person to bleed green and be there with the Marine Corps. So I'm gonna turn the mic over to you. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, and what an honor to be accepted by the Marine Corps, to be called Doc. You know, the history of that and the reason why in the Navy, the rate or the job that has the most Medal of Honors is the Navy Corpsman. Why? Because when we serve with the Marines, we go through hell and water to save our brother. You know, not because we want to, not because we like to, it's because we have to. So I felt like that's always been my mantra throughout my life. And, you know, my upbringing being on the southwestern side on the cultural area really brought me into like helping, always helping, always help that one person that can't help you. Why? Because that's what you do. You don't ask, you just help. Because that's just how I grew up. Grew up in a small town that everybody knows everyone, and that's just how we continue to do things. So being a corpsman really just it felt good. It felt easy, like a glove. I just didn't know I was going greenside. That they did not mention to me. They said your rate, 80% of your rate is females. You can go to a hospital. You can go at night to college. You got this. Yeah, they didn't tell me about the FMF side. And I knew there was a war going, but I didn't know what it was. And they literally, I was third place in my class. And I was supposed to pick orders. They said, no, this side, West Coast, this side, Lejeune. Roger that. Here I go to Lejeune.
I know exactly how you feel. I was the same way. I was kind of naive to the fact that, dude, I'm joining when fucking war's going on, right? I'm like, oh, I'll go be a firefighter or whatever. And then all of a sudden you're like, even when you're at boot camp and your drill instructors or whoever's like yelling at you, like 99% of you guys are going to Iraq. Hey, it ain't going to be me.
Yeah.
My ass checked in on April 1st, April Fool's Day. I sat at the IPAC for fucking 4 hours while people were messing with me. Finally, sent my ass. I check into a squadron, a CASEVAC unit. So I'm familiar with Navy corpsmen, right? So we're doing casualty evacuations with the CH-46, right? So rest in peace, CH-46.
Yeah.
Now they got the V-22 tilt rotor, which is good too. But yeah, so all of a sudden I'm like checking in, and my commanding officer on the deployment before I got there took a round to the face, right? Bounced off a sappy plate, blew his chin off, right? So now I think General Kaufman, I don't know if he's still in right now, but I'm checking in and he's got this huge scar on his face. And I'm a little fucking PFC, private first class, and my lieutenant colonel commanding officer got shot in the face, 8 months prior. And here I am going, oh shit, they're sending me to Iraq and this dude got shot in the face. You're the CEO. You're supposed to be the most important person. I felt for sure. I was like, I'm fucked. I don't know how I'm a little PFC that is going to make it. Yeah. But thank God for the corpsmen, right? Because that's kind of, if it wasn't for them, we'd still have fucking toothbrush holders stuck up our butts and stuff like that. So no, I'm just playing.
It's funny because once you join the Marine Corps unit and you're the corpsman, well, you end up not just being the corpsman. You just don't wear a corpsman hat. You wear a confidant hat, where they come to you with mental issues, health issues, financial issues, marital issues, and you have to be there. It's part of your role, but it's not. You weren't trained to do that. It's more of like the sink or swim. So that's why I'm honored to be accepted by the Marines, because we all know they have those corpsmen that just weren't accepted by them. And those are the guys standing duty and all that. I told the Marines, I'm not standing duty. I ain't doing it. And they're like, all right, roger that, Doc. Staff sergeants and all that, they respected that because they knew when the fire came to the door, I'm there. I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to freeze. And they saw that when we were out there. And it was an honor to be able to display that while I was scared. I'm not going to tell you I wasn't, because I'd be lying. But once that first RPG goes off or the first shots are taken, you're like, all right, they're coming from that way. Now we can address, But you're always in pins and needles, and it drains you. And it drains you. And a lot of people don't understand that some of that, when you bring it back, you miss not that, but you miss being with your friends that happens, that connection, because you feel like you have someone you can trust in life. I can tell you that a lot of people, I probably haven't met, and if they're Marines and they know I'm a corpsman and we're in a grunt unit, there's this untalked about trust already without knowing each other. Yeah, it's like, all right, well, what do you need? Because they're willing to oblige to whatever you are, why you're there, whether you just want to say hello. It would be a different hello than if, hi, I'm Jack Tom. I went to University of Arizona. I went to University of California. Okay, but whereas like, yeah, I was with 2-7. Oh, I was with 2-8. I was a corpsman. Oh, I was a gunner. Oh, then the conversations start dipping into a little different.
Yeah, it's like a
aspect.
it's like a prestige thing, right? So for me, being aviation, I'm a fucking pogue, right? Position other than grunt. So if you guys don't know, and you're just tuning in and listening, some of you guys are military and already know all this stuff, so it's repetitive. But as a pogue or aviation, yeah, I'm a Marine, right? I go to boot camp. I go to the school. Well, Marine combat training, which is a little school of infantry, is probably Doc Soto here has got more infantry, definitely more infantry training than I do, right? So, but the difference between being a Navy corpsman and a Navy corpsman attached to a ground combat element, part of 2-7 Fox Company. And he was there, like I said, and I'm not trying to like blow him up as a badass, but when you're there kicking in doors and shooting fucking bullets downrange with the Marines, right? Yeah, man, you better have your shit together and you better have that thought process of like, I'm in it. I'm a fucking warrior, right? I'm a fucking gunfighter. Not only that, but now you have the also responsibility of taking care of those guys that are seeing bad shit, and you're carrying extra weight, and you're worried about doing your medical stuff and saving lives, right? Because for me, I kind of understand it as far as before I joined the Marine Corps, I wanted to be a firefighter. I did my EMT, and all I wanted to do was save lives. But I understand that in talking with a lot of paramedics, that PTSD that comes with having shit happen, right? Where you're trying to save a life and you're not able to save that life. And I think that would be definitely the hardest thing, at being a Navy corpsman for sure. So it looks like Doc had to jump up and maybe he had to take a pee break or something, or he might be doing some fucking chest compressions and fucking breathing in, breathing out. Somebody.
He had to get a quick pump in.
He had to give your dog the Heimlich or some shit, huh?
Yeah, he all of a sudden reacts, and I'm like, "What do you want?" He just wants to go outside, and he starts
So
scratching at stuff. Sorry, I apologize. Yeah.
No worries, man. I got my daughter asking me questions and stuff too. I'm trying to do a ventriloquist fucking. I'm like trying to talk to her. I'm like muting and shit. Like, I look like Fire Marshal Bell when I do that.
I
Right,
thought maybe you went off camera to get a quick pump in.
He did some push-ups. Fuck yeah. Motivate. Look at those guys.
Hey, Gunny said so. So whatever Gunny says goes. Look at that. And
Yeah, we might have to stop and do some burpees in the middle of this.
Dolph Lundgren just called and he said he wants his chin back. Anyways, no, but what I was saying is, yeah, man. I mean, the pressures of not only, clearing left, clearing right, sectors of fire, all that good shit, and storming the doors, but you have the responsibility of helping people when they do get shot. It's kind of, I mean, what was that like? Where it's okay, I want to fight, but I also know I'm important. Where I don't want to be the first one to jump into a room, right? You know what I mean? And not, but then I also don't want to be looked at as like the bitch of like, I'm not the, you know what I mean? To me, tell me about like what that's like to be the one that, I mean, you're important on the battlefield.
Yeah, I can tell you that unfortunately, well, our status as per the Geneva Conventions, we are non-combatants, so we're not supposed to be combating. But I can tell you so many times they're like, Doc in front, Doc, kick the door in, or Doc, you're the first one in. And as you go into a compound, their heart's racing. It could be an AK pointed at the door. You don't know, and you might have to take that guy out, or you take that round in. But they're gonna push in, and that's just, it's the way of war. It's the military style, like there is some tactics that are utilized, but at all times as you're doing these, as the corpsman, we're not supposed to do that. But you're right, when the warrior has to kick in, who cares what you are there? You're the chef, you're the CO, you're the radio man. You need to step up. And I was lucky enough to my squad took care of me so well that those instances were that not that many, but when they had to happen, I was there for them, and they knew it would reciprocate. An example: back in 2008, we were helping in the Helmand province border. The Brits were being overtaken by some of the Taliban, so we went in there. And as we were pushing through, we secured a compound. As we secured the compound, I just put my bag down, and for some reason I just turn left and I see an enemy combatant. So I don't know how, as I was laying there, because I had my bag and everything, another counter bag here because it was so heavy, and I had to make sure I have everything with, extra aid ammo, mags with, I had a grenade. So we all have the combat load plus the medical pack. So I don't know how I threw myself up, and when I went to engage, I looked to the right and I see a 240 pointing at me. I was like, if for some reason, and we've had an instance already in blue on blue, if I pull this trigger, I might scare someone, and they pulled that 240 trigger. It's not going well. So as I looked at the guy. I looked at the guy I was pushing forward, and I was like, stop, stop, stop. And obviously he didn't understand. He looked at me befuddled. Well, he didn't have an eye because he took a round in the eye and it came out from the back of the head. So we were trying to talk to him and everything. So it was the first prisoner of war to be taken out of there from us. I was the first one to saw him, and then my gunner, actually Rooster, he's a 2-7, he's a 2-7 and an MVP member. He's the one that saw him with me. He approached them, grabbed them and everything. So I had to render aid to the enemy because, again, as per the Geneva Conventions, we help everyone. So you go from the warrior, like I'm going to take this guy out, to now I have to save his life. So it's definitely it's different, I want to say. But at the end of the day, I feel like the way I grew up in a small town in Nogales, Arizona, whether they're good or bad, they're, whatever you want to see it, you help them. My mother helped so many people that in front of me, and she even told me one time that, like, you get out and help this kid or I'm whooping your ass. It's like, all right, I guess I'll get out, Mom, So thanks to my mother, Mother's Day coming up. Thanks to all the mothers out there.
Yeah, shout out to the mothers out there for sure. It's hard to imagine, like, especially when you're talking about, those guys might have killed one of your friends or something, and then still having the heart to say, my responsibility is to save anybody, not just for, the Geneva Convention, but still having that humanity. That sounds like, your mother instilled that in you at a young age. And that's awesome. Did you have any brothers and sisters and stuff too? Or were you the only child?
I'm the oldest. I have a brother and then a sister. Yeah.
So you're the oldest. So that's where
Yeah.
that caring comes in, where it's like, you got to take care of people in life. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because as I grew up, my father most of the time wasn't there, and I had to take care of my siblings. And then whenever my family, well, not my family, but my cousins, their family had a ranch. So whenever I went out there, like, they wanted me to take care of stuff and all that. So sometimes having people there or something, I had to take care of cattle, had to take care of the horses, had to take care of X, Y, or Z. It just, that responsibility was instilled very young. And I think it really just, flipped when it came to the military. It's just on a higher purpose, in a utilitarian form that I didn't understand until, college.
Yeah, definitely. Like the people that come from like ranches and farms and that hard work ethic. Like when I was recruiting out of Grand Junction, Colorado, I'd go into some of the rural areas. Some of these kids already had firearms and guns, and they were 4-H and raising cattle. And like, I was emasculated. I was like, these guys are fucking badass. And they're like 17 years old. And like, I'm like, I couldn't believe like they have Jeeps and AK-47s in the back of their shit. I'm like, bro, like, this is insane. But they're tough. They're a breed of all to their own, man. But, and then also you talk about being the oldest and taking care of your siblings and stuff like that and cousins. I was kind of the same way too. So I think when you're in that line of like siblings and where you are in that status, it completely changes in a way your personality and upbringing. And they joke about, I should have been the daughter. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here fucking cooking and washing dishes.
Right? Yeah.
So
Hey, but
yeah.
guess what? I can make some mean food right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to learn that HelloFresh box delivery system and shit.
What?
HelloFresh. I'm basically a fucking master chef now, bro.
I'm making the plug.
That was
we
a
got
shameless
MVP
plug.
MRE.
What'd you say, Andrew?
I said that was a plug for some HelloFresh. So HelloFresh,
Right?
if you see this, feel free to give us some.
You guys could save off 20% off of your free next. Yeah, maybe. Hey, I'm not even worried about all that kind of stuff yet. I'm sure as the viewers grow, and hopefully they do, I'll throw some ad breaks and I'll throw them in the beginning so you guys can skip past all that shit. But for sure. that, and it'd be like Rogaine because I'm starting to lose my shit. So that's what's funny is like Doc's like, yeah, man, you're gonna go to college and join a fraternity doing keg stands. I'm like, man, I'm fucking losing my hair. I can't. I'm worried about other things. But yeah,
You
man.
my boy, Blue.
Hell yeah. But it's cool to hear kind of your upbringing story too, and then just I'm learning things that I didn't know about you already, man. So this is awesome to have you on as part of this podcast, and I think a lot of people can definitely relate. That's been there. I've never been to combat as far as bullets going whizzing by, but I did 3 combat deployments to Iraq from 2005 to 2009, and I was there in Al Anbar province, like right over there. So for those of you guys know about the Sunni Triangle and all that stuff. So as Kazakhs, we had to be real close. So my first experience with that situation is back in 2005, 2006. We're there in TQ, and we'd get mortared and rocketed attacked all the time. And at this time, we were living in little 6-man tents, which was crazy because it was like dirt floors, 6-man tents, and all the electrical was just shitty, just scary as hell, man. You're like, I'm not worried about dying from a mortar. I'm worried about this bitch catching fire. And you remember those old 6-man tent tarps were like, I don't know if they're soaked in kerosene or whatever, anti-weather, but if those things go, bro, they're all going, right? And that's why Firewatch is super, super important. And basically the most important thing, which was funny, kind of shout out to video games, was bringing that Xbox, right, with the Halo.
In the case and all that, opening it up with that little fucking screen.
All the dust and shit going in it. And what was funny is we'd get attacked, and kind of the volleys would go as like the terrorists would come up and they're shooting rockets, or they're putting mortars with ice cubes or some shit on there, right?
Yeah,
so they can just kind of get away. And what they're trying to do is hit whatever they can. And I'll tell you right now, nothing's more frustrating than being an aviation mechanic, or for my situation, ordnanceman, trying to do a job and it's already 120 degrees. The fucking aircraft's so hot, you need mechanics gloves because you're burning. And then you get mortared, or you're trying to take a shit in the biffy, right? Or something else. And you get fucking rocketed attacked. And you're like, man, come on, man. You don't even care anymore about getting hit. You're just like, bro, really, like, now
if it's gonna hit, it's gonna hit.
Yeah, bro, I gotta hit roll call. I remember one time my staff sergeant fucking runs in, and not my staff sergeant, but a staff sergeant, and we're on the tents and we're playing fucking video games, man. We don't give a shit. We get rocket attack, we're just starting to put our shit on. We're still like, we're fucking playing, man. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Put your shit on. I'm like, bro, if that shit hits, it doesn't matter, man. Like, it doesn't. So and then you kind of get used to that.
You desensitize.
Yeah, you almost have to accept, hey, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die, right? So, and I'm sure you've felt that, and everybody listening probably felt that, where it's like, you almost have to, you have to just accept it, because every time you go to sleep, right, you're like, someone could walk in, they could slit my throat and kill me. This place could catch fire. I could get hit with a mortar, whatever, right? And even for some of those guys that weren't infantry, even just being a part of TQ, the base, you had to be careful and just walking from different locations, because there were third country nationalists that were working those things that would slit your throat if they had the chance. So I remember like walking. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. No, yeah, he's right. There was a couple of incidents while we're in base where guys were caught with getting a rifle or trying to stab someone of higher caliber. It wasn't far-fetched. It was something that was happening. So you always had to be vigilant, whether you're, the chef, the ordnance, or you were a grunt or special forces. You were always in that mentality. And it's hard to flip that switch once you come back, when people are like, oh, well, he's sleeping with a gun next to him or something. It's part of the transition, unfortunately. There's so many times that this desensitization happened. How do you revert that? How do you get them back to that? Everyone thinks SEPs and TAPs will do it. No, it won't. It won't. They don't address this. Oh, well, if you do go to the VA, that's not addressing it. That is not addressing it. Plus, SEPs and TAPs are, at the end of the day, they're worried about retention. They're not worried about you. They don't care about you at that point. You are already removed from that operation for that mission. So what's next? And it's unfortunate to see it that way or think of it that way. But if you see the statistics and you see the numbers, as financial management or any type of project management, It's something you have to worry about. It's retention. How do you continue to keep retention? Well, quid pro quo with the military, same thing, right? So why would they care? And I'm not saying they don't. I'm not saying they're not doing something that they don't care for, but quid pro quo. And that's where I leave it at. So this is why we started MVP, because nah, I'm not worried about what they're doing. Now it's our turn to help each other the way we know. Because to me, they are antiquated. They are coming up, but they're not even remotely where they need to be at this point in moment. Because how are we using, exposure therapy through gaming, which we'll do right now, and we'll have a great time, while they've been doing it in other places as research, but the VA is not utilizing it appropriately to help with that coping, whether it be TBI, whether it be PTSD, whether it be MST. Those are a lot of things that exposure therapy has shown to be working. So that's the way we approach it here at MVP, as in a holistic form. Absolutely, we're going to siphon everyone to the VA. Why? Because we want everyone to see those services, because they're services for you, for veterans, and active duty too, because you're going to get there eventually. It's inevitable. So by doing this, we're helping many more than you think. It's not just about us anymore. It's more of like, who's in the future? Who's coming? How do we use gaming? Why do we use gaming? Why is physical fitness good? Why is stretching good? Why is knowing a healthy, balanced meal do you good? What does peer-to-peer support do? All that stuff on the holistic approach. And yeah, gathering, getting together. I mean, like, the first things I think I said to Gunny was like, man, fuck you're skinny. And he's like, man, fuck you're short. Like, those are terms of endearment, whether you believe it or not. Those are the first things that you say after we've conversed for a year online. We built that repertoire already. And now to actually be tangible, it's
that hug was
chemically
amazing.
challenge.
That hug was
changes.
like, oh.
You know what I mean? I was like, oh, what happened?
Well, I think
that man's built like, he touch him, he's rock. But you know what I mean? It's like, it's not that. It's the part that whatever you say, we say it in a form of endearment, and having that connection it surges so much good chemical compounds in your brain that it makes you happy. Going to see Wally, seeing friends that I haven't seen in years, seeing MVP members, it was refreshing. It was recharging. I feel like a little bit better once I came back home. Whatever troubles were here, they weren't so troubling anymore.
Well, I think a big thing too is a lot of people underestimate friendships and powers of friendships. And like for guys, it's a little weird, especially military. Sometimes it's like, I don't have a lot of friends. You know what I mean? I don't have people that I'm like, I can fucking rely on, that are like, no shit, hey, I need to move, or I need to do this or whatever. Right. So, I mean, you do have friendships, you have coworkers and things like those might be the closest thing to friends, but guys have a hard time investing and building in those relationships. You know what I mean? So it's important for us to have mentors. It's important for us to have people that, no matter walks of life where they are. And if you don't have a mentor, somebody that is already being successful in something that you want to do, you're not going to be successful. But I think the best thing about MVP for me, being active duty military still, is like, if I have issues that I'm dealing with, most likely I'm probably not going to talk to the chaplain. I'm not going to talk to my command. You know what I mean? Because that directly affects the way I'm viewed when it's already a competitive environment.
Risk.
You know what I mean? Yeah, dude. Yeah. So like, hey, so-and-so's having some whatever issues or marital issues, or having trouble, or thoughts about suicide, or he's going through financial issues, or whatever, man. Like, or he has some shit on his dick that he has to get looked at. I don't want to go to my doc and be like, yo, my asshole itches. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's just weird to me, because now I serve in a capacity, in a command with that person. It's fucking weird, right? But when you have a group of individuals that you feel understand where you're coming from, and that being MVP, or not just the military, but the veteran supporters that have family members that dealt with stuff, or had family members that were drug addicts or whatever, or had people that committed suicide. All those people can relate to you, and you can have help and resource outside of your actual chain of command, and where you make money, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's honestly one of the things that you said is that, and we got to find a better word. That's why I used MVP, because we're looking for, like you said, we want that friendship, but a little bit more than a friendship, because a friendship is something that you're willing to do something for someone as long as they do something for you, and you give them that trust. When it comes to the military, you're going to do it regardless whether you like them or not, but you're part of that brotherhood, you know. And I like the word brotherhood because I'm a man, but that excludes females, which are part of the military too. So that's why I use MVP, because it's inclusive to everyone. So with MVP, you're bringing that sense of trust already instilled in it, and really, like, when you go in there, you go comfortably in, and then from there you take that trust away from those that you don't like, because there's 600 right now in MVP. It's just like the military. You're not gonna like all of them, but guess what? You're gonna help them because they're MVP.
There's some badass women in MVP, and that's a good point too, because just the term righteous dad for a podcast, I don't want to exclude the women, right? So I'm going to have some female guests and everything that are righteous badass women. You don't even have to be a dad either. It's just this, what we're trying to grow is the same thing in a community, and bring people that truly inspire in all walks of life: military, military supporters, veterans. You don't even have to support the military, it's fine. And you could think totally different. You could be a straight pacifist, Birkenstock wearing, tree hugging, granola eating person, and that's cool, because you know what, we have to learn some of that keto.
Yeah,
So you could be my
absolutely.
son screaming in the background.
And
that you guys
yeah,
done.
but it's part of life. It's part of, like, as we said in the military, semper gumby, always flexible. You know, whatever comes, you're resilient. Doc, you know, the 5 rules of dodgeball. Who knows them? You know what I mean? So as you go
Dodge and dodge
and
twice, right?
dodge, yeah, and as we go through life, like, you're gonna get hit with one of those wrenches. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have, you know, the pirate, or, you know, someone else trying to pick you up and saying, like, it's all right, get up, you can dodge again. You're gonna learn from that. You're not gonna get hit with that wrench anymore, because it's gonna hurt. So you already know this. You become resilient, and sometimes it's hard to see it that way, because you're you know, you want to be what we call a man, you know. But I think, in my definition now of a man, is not like suck it up and move forward. It's like, no, there's some things that we have to address. There's some things we have to talk about. And if you don't want to talk about it, if you don't feel like you can talk about them, that's when you have to man up, and really start opening up in those feelings and emotions that you don't want to talk about. And that's the courage it takes to be a man, you know, and or a
Yeah,
woman.
2-7 says, ready for all, yielding to
Yield to
none,
none.
right? What's up?
That's absolutely right. You know, you face the problem, you know, straightforward, and, you know, we you don't have to do it alone. MVP, baby.
I'm so excited too. And part of where I'm doing as a job now and going into these different squadrons and meeting with some of these junior Marines, I have a unique opportunity to like push this to them too. And I'm super excited. And I've already been pushing MVP, and I just look forward to doing everything I can, because a lot of these kids, man, they're, you talked about, organizational psychology, organizational leadership, stuff like that. These kids are already playing video games, they're already looking at social media sites. And I think for us that are a little bit older and wiser, that been through some of this 20-year war, man, like I've been pretty much been at war the whole time I've been in the service. And I think now transitioning, even though we're old men, I think it's still important that we try to relate to these guys, to the new generation, because now we can have their ear, and if they have problems, and it's important for us as Americans to help each other and build each other and continue um, to save each other, especially now how society is changing. And after the pandemic, shit's getting weird, man. Like, good thing is we can take advantage of these situations where we can band together. And if you have friends and stuff like that, I'll say right now, if you're a man and you have a friend that you haven't fucking reached out to for a while, hey, you need to fucking call them, bro. Like, hey man, I'm just thinking about you. It takes 2 minutes to give a call, especially my veterans out there. It takes 2 seconds to stay in contact. And if you guys want to talk to Doc Soto and give him a call, I'm sure he's more than happy to take your call.
Absolutely.
And we invite you out to, the Salty Sailor Talk every Saturday. And that's kind of why I want to plug next is like, Doc, I want to wrap things up a little bit. It's getting, at the 45-minute mark on the podcast, and it's all good stuff. But where can we find you, and what do you see? Well, let's go first. What do you see in the future for MVP?
Awesome. So the future of MVP is MVP Texas. we're moving to Texas. We're gathering information right now. I have a meeting with San Antonio VA. I already conversed with a couple of the universities out there because, again, we're here at the University of Arizona, Arizona State University, Pima Community College. Now we're moving on to the Texas Community Colleges, University of Austin, San Antonio College there. I forgot the name of it. I apologize. But
So is it
again,
growing to multiple colleges? So now it's going to be
absolutely.
Arizona and Texas.
Yes. So that's the future here for now for the three-month projection. And obviously we want to welcome and invite everyone, put it out there to the colleges, put it out there in the community, because we can't grow if we don't start locally. Help your local vets. And again, as Gunny was saying, yeah, it's great to tell everyone, hey, reach out. But you as a person or as an individual or an NCO, which is a non-commissioned officer, which is a leadership position in the military, reach in, because sometimes that 30 seconds that maybe they didn't answer, cool, but maybe they saw it and they're like, I don't want to answer. And then they'll text you, hey, I'm going through some shit, or I'm going through something. I'm having a issue or situation. Okay, and then you start with the texting. But if you didn't do that, you would have never known. And we all know those people. And I'm telling you, it's paramount to have people like Andrew here, because it's hard for the community to understand us, let alone have someone welcome us with open arms. You know, we're not everyone's cup of tea. We are a little bit spicy, but people that allow us to be a little bit more jagged eventually helps us to smooth out those edges and become that diamond that was in the rough that, you know, you can shine now. So thank you for being here, Andrew. I know that you haven't said much, and you're allowing us to, you know, be boisterous about things. So we're
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. No, I know I've been very pretty silent throughout this podcast. I've just been very humbled just to listen to your stories. Like I said, I'm very much a veteran supporter, and being in the family of veterans, and you know, I can say that I'm just super stoked that to find out that your MVP is open to anybody, not just veterans. You know, I mean, it's really cool. I could tell you, coming, you know, my story couldn't be more different than yours. I'm the youngest of three. You know, y'all are the oldest of your siblings. You know, I believe Brian is the oldest. Um, you know, so I'm the youngest. I don't have a military background for myself, even though I come from a military family. I didn't have that brotherhood because I got two older sisters. I was the one getting dressed up and playing. The hand me down toys for me were Barbies. You know, my sisters were playing dress up on me. You know, I was the guinea pig for those things. So, you know, my dad worked nights. My dad was a veteran. He was a hardworking guy. He worked for Lockheed Martin for like 30 years, and he worked the night shift. So I didn't have a positive male influence a lot of times. My dad impressed upon me a strong work ethic and family values, and that has gotten me very far in life. But I can tell you, just me from my story, I spent a lot of years without a positive male influence, without a brotherhood or a fraternity, you know, to be a part of. And honestly, I think I was about 32 or 33 when I met Gunny. And that's when I got my first taste of what it was like to have a brother. You know, he impresses upon the lesson. If I took nothing else, then it was the only thing I could say more than anything else. He's he's displayed how to be a man to me, and the way that he carries himself. He's a thermostat, not a thermometer. You know, he sets the temperature in the room when he walks in. You know, he doesn't whistle at the cute girl that walks by. He's got a wife. He respects that. He's a family man. Seeing just him model good what it is to be a man and a father and a good husband and all those qualities and the little bit that I've gotten to know
Here's
you,
my
Doc.
intro.
Yeah, the little bit that I've gotten to know you, I can tell that, this is just like the two of y'all are just the tip of the iceberg. I can only imagine the vast community that you have in MVP. of like-minded individuals, and to have that type of resources like Brian, like Doc, in that community, just one or two of you alone, but multiply that out by hundreds. It's just mind-blowing to me that you have that strong of a community of a brotherhood, sisterhood, people that can rely on each other.
And we don't stop there. We have one of our counselors is from Guam, and we have another veteran in Abu Dhabi. We're from Guam to Abu Dhabi, and some of these veterans are people that serve their own country but serve for the same purpose. So we understand that they have similar problems because we were out there in the same HESCO barriers with them. The Brits, the Estonians, the Australians, the Canadians. Why can't that be part of us? Because they already felt it. So we're not discriminating. We have Swiss members, we have UK members, we have Irish members, we have Canadian members, and they're all for that, bringing awareness to mental health and veterans' mental health specifically, because we noticed our niche is so small, and then we're killing off each other at a rate of 22 a day. And they're saying that statistics changed, but the fact that we had that type of rate it's ridiculous. But it's not just us; it's the whole nation, as mental health is a 10th largest killer in the nation. So it's a fight that we all need to unite and look forward and find that mission and try to help one another, because it's always going to be a fight that when me and Gunny are gone, and we need someone to continue fighting this, because it's a never ending, but we're still here fighting.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that what Andrew said, and it's touching because you get to see it in the full circle of like, that's what it is to be a part of Brotherhood. And there's a lot of people I think nowadays that are lacking that. And, when it comes to not just veteran suicide, but, civilian suicide too. And then people need each other, right? So like Righteous Podcast, that's kind of why I wanted to do this. And we discussed this earlier, is like having people that we can talk to, having people that we can share books. And biggest thing is just motivating people and inspiring people to better themselves. The life is always going to suck, right? And one of the sayings I said is like, the only thing you should fear is your shadow, for it's what you will become if you choose not to shine. And we all are supposed to shine. You know what I mean? Missing the mark is sin. The whole Latin sin thing with Jordan Peterson, right? We all are supposed to do something, create something, write a book, tell a story, call your brother to, you don't know what kind of impact you have on other people's lives. So every day you should be thinking about how to do that. And I think definitely having Doc as the first episode, because that guy, you talk about a thermostat as well, man. His coffee cup is overrunneth, right? So his coffee cup is going, and he is definitely serving so many more people, more so than you'll ever imagine. And that's the biggest thing, I think. And it's awesome to hear from you, Andrew, as such a good friend, is I was that person for you, because that's what we all should aspire to be. You know what I mean? And you are that person for many people, right? You're a good friend. You're like my best friend over there, man. I didn't have many friends, and I didn't really care about anybody, but
Andrew, that's not to take it lightly, man. Like, you realize, like, we don't have many friends. We choose not to, because our friends, we already know where they are. We just can't connect. But then people can connect now. But he sees you on that caliber. So just thank you for being there for him, man.
It's awesome, and it's a pleasure. It definitely is, man.
He's a piece of coal that we're trying to fucking make a diamond here. So.
You know what I mean? And it's hard. It's hard because we can take a lot of pressure, but it's just the right type of pressure, because if not, as vets, like, it's hard for me to be afraid of anything right now. Like,
we got slight inclusion still as diamonds, right?
Yeah, like, you should be afraid of this. No, I'm not afraid of a lot of things. Actually, I'm not afraid of a lot of things at all. So how do you instill some type of like that in someone to say, like, this is important? So it's that type of delineation that you probably give him to show that type of importance or priorities, like, again, Gunny says that I touch a lot of people in different ways, and honestly, just the circle that we have and having other people talk about certain things is what I think other leaderships in the Marine Corps taught me, because I didn't have a lot of Navy leaderships, and when I did, they were very little touch and go. But I know it was 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines, but 3rd Battalion, 10th Marines, Captain Hoover, he was one of the ones that I saw being stern but fair. And it's when I served with Fat Boy, you know, but at the same time we were all treated as one. And he made me feel like, oh, even though we're with the military and the Marine Corps, someone cares, you know. So
Shout out to
again,
Fat Boy.
yeah, shout out to Fat Boy, absolutely. So it's those little things that we can find in one another, but it's that light that when you have that light and you push a light with someone else, we're gonna shine brighter. You're gonna get used to shining like that. So you're always gonna seek to be better and shine brighter and brighter. Like you said, it's an honor to be here with Righteous Dad because man, I wanna shine. You know, I want to continue shining, and this is it's feeling. You know, it's helpful.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening in and viewing. Definitely, you need to check out Doc Soto. You need to check out MVP because we want to continue to grow not only as this podcast, but also as MVP. That way, we can be a resource to more and more people, not just veterans, but also veteran supporters that might be going through a hard time. So, Doc, where can we find you? Let's do your plugs of your social media and
Absolutely. MyVeteranPassion.org. If you can, go ahead and go and do a kind donation. Share the MyVeteranPassion.org. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, Discord. Like I said, we're doing a mass of, hey, let's get online. And from there, we're going to get together and do physical fitness. We're going to do nutrition. We're going to approach it in a holistic way and hopefully do a little bit of gaming along the way.
Speaking of which, I think we're going to be going on Twitch now and playing some Warzone for a little bit. So if you guys want to check out Doc, you can find him, Doc Soto, at 8404, which is his MOS, Military Occupational Specialty. For those of you who don't know, hey, thank you so much, Doc Soto, for coming in and blessing us with your presence. And if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and check out MVP. Andrew, thank you for being the co-host and the co-host with the most and all your contributions to and everything we're doing and helping me grow this podcast. My kid is screaming because he wants to play Warzone so bad. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to transition this over. We're going to stop recording. I want to, again, say thank you so much. If you like what you hear on this podcast, please listen into the next one. We're going to start pushing out this at least once a week. We're going to have different guests on. I'm super excited about it. I already got guests saying, yes, I will be on your podcast from everywhere to MMA guys, jiu-jitsu guys, book people, musicians, and everything. So thanks again for everybody for taking time to listen. And again, and thank you for all of Doc Soto's Twitch followers for listening to the unedited backstage episode of the very first Righteous Dad podcast. Is there anything else you want to say, Andrew?
No, thank you, everybody. Thank you again, Doc. You know, I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna have some. You know, this is it. This is the start of the fire right here. You know, we're gonna have some amazing guests on. I already know it. We're gonna have some good conversations about some books. We're gonna be talking about a lot of broad, different topics here that I know that is gonna resonate with the MVP crowd, and I'm sure we're gonna have people from MVP on as well. So I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. This is the Genesis episode right here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay righteous.